Hello and welcome to Better Business Podcast. My name is Alexi. As often, trying to bring you really cool content with really cool guests. And today I've got Andrej Brummer with me. How you going there, Andrej?
Good, thanks, Alex. How are you, man?
Good, mate. Good. I've known Andrej for probably over 20 years. Mate, it actually makes me sound really old, but Andrej has started doing something completely different to what he's doing right now. And I think it's very important to share stories like Andrej purely because it really reflects on the journey that someone may potentially take by potentially, attending some events and changing their life by using digital products. But Andrej, I want to steal this from you. Tell us, how you sort of came to one of the events that I was basically a part of, and what were you doing prior to it?
Yeah, really good question. So basically, in my former life, I was a cancer research scientist. So originally we come from New Zealand, moved to Australia because like biotechs in New Zealand are much smaller. Australia's got a lot more choice, and so thought that was the best next step. And so I went to Australia and sort of like in the early 2000s, probably about 2005, started kind of thinking about this new internet thing. And my wife was always really into wealth creation, right? So she wanted to trade the share market, wanted to get involved in properties and stuff. And then there was some internet seminars, and we thought, oh wow, this is cool, like a brand new thing. What's this new internet thing? How do we make money on that? So pretty much rocked up to an event with mentors of mine and also mentors of Alex, Andrew and Daryl Grant, and their talk was how a technophobe couple from Queensland made $250,000 in their first year online. I still remember their headline.
That's
It was
US,
like
by the
such a
way,
good
for
one.
those who are
Yeah,
listening.
US. Yeah. And basically they talked about their model, how to find an empty niche on Google and build an information product around it. And I thought, wow, that is so neat. And I loved it too because Daryl's background is science and sort of like it's like her approach is very scientific, and that resonated with me with my science background as well. And so it's like a very distinct methodology. And here's how to like research an empty niche, build an information product around it, and then get this magical dude here, Alex, to help you with the ads, right? So that was part of the package. And we're like, hell yeah, sign us up. So I think we paid our 5 grand or whatever it is, and then we're off to the races. And so I think we launched probably about 2006, 2007. And so I soon started having, after I got to the point where we were ready for ads, soon started having a lot of interaction with Alex here, who was an epic help. Basically, back then, no one had the skills that Alex did. So he was very, very in hot demand. Yeah. So um, and again, nothing happens so super fast. Nothing happens without a little bit of work. So I was like kind of testing and measuring and finally cracked it. So it took a little bit of time, but then we started getting really good sales from the C book, thanks to Andrew Adele and thanks to Alex's help as well. And then basically it started to get to the point where I was selling so many ebooks, it was replacing my income as a scientist. And I was like, there's got to be something in this internet thing.
The book was about saltwater aquariums, was that
Yeah,
right?
correct. It was the ultimate, what was it? Ultimate guide to saltwater aquarium fish and invertebrates.
So
That's cool.
before we go much further, our listeners are probably thinking, what the hell are this guy's talking about? So when I started, probably around 2004, I was working for Andrew and Daryl that were basically working on all this ebook businesses. And essentially, they ended up cracking the code and then turning it into a done for you type package where I was working with some of their customers, help them build the websites and fine tune the Google ads back in the days as well. So that was it. And Andrej obviously bought one of those packages and built his saltwater aquarium advice website where you were selling an ebook for how much?
Yeah, $37 US.
$37 US. So it was a
Yeah,
global book, and it obviously worked for you to replace your income.
yeah,
So hang
it
on a
worked
second.
really
So
well.
that either means that the
But like,
scientists are not getting paid very much, or the book's done really well. So
that's
which
right.
is it either?
Both, both actually. Yeah. So it worked until it didn't, guys. And so let me just kind of like fast track. So it was good, and so kind of like built it up to the nth degree under an Andrew and Daryl's model. And then I went on a bit of a different pivot, which
Tangent.
I should never have done. So, guys, again, if something's working in business, you don't reinvent the wheel. You kind of just refine and pivot. But I was a bit stupid, and I was a bit ambitious and kind of like egotistical. And this guy came to me, he said, Dre, this is amazing. right now you've got an ebook that's selling really well. What about if I build you this e-commerce website and then you can start selling fish tanks and all the equipment like pet supplies and stuff like that to the saltwater aquarium people? You're going to make heaps more money, and I'll build you a site that converts at like 3%, and it's going to be amazing. Like your business is going to explode. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. He's like, yes, we've done it for heaps of customers. We've done it many, many times. So I kind of got sucked into that, right? So my ebook was selling great. My ebook website was going well. I didn't need anything else. I didn't need to add added complexity. But when you've got things that are working, sometimes you get attracted to bright, shiny objects, right? And you want to do something more. And so I was like, yes, I'll spend 20 grand to get this e-commerce website. Guys, let me tell you, that was the biggest expensive mistake I've ever made. First of all, this guy was not really who he said he was, because he was reporting to me from this company, but he had actually stolen me from this company to his own clients. So he wasn't the expert. And then second of all, after we finally got it all up and running and spent all this money and time to make it work, the best-selling product on that website was still my ebook, not my physical products, right? So the whole drop shipping thing was not good. We made a couple of sales, but essentially the ebook was the best thing because I didn't need to put any time and effort into that, right? I already had my website, already had the book, it's already made. And when you get a sale, essentially that's money for nothing, right? So it was a really, really good passive income stream, a lot harder than drop shipping saltwater aquarium tanks halfway across the world. So
And that allowed
important
you to,
message.
yeah, that allowed you to change your lifestyle quite a fair bit. I mean, tell us about how you've been able to move to other parts of the world and run businesses from there as well. From memory, I think you were running a cafe as well, but I won't steal it from you. Right? Tell us about what the actual change in your income and your lifestyle has actually done for you.
Absolutely. Right. So after we got the ebook to the point where it replaced my income from science, we're like, wow, this is great. Let's travel. And so we decided to quit our jobs, sell everything, put all our stuff into storage in Sydney, and move to Southeast Asia. So the idea was to trip around there for as long as we could, like find new places. As long as the internet's good, we could do some work, build new products and stuff like that. So it all sounded pretty good. And we went and did that immediately. A couple of different things happened because obviously life is such a roller coaster, right? You get one idea and then everything kind of changes. So for a couple of years, that was great. It was working well. And then I don't know if you remember, Alex, but there was a big Google algorithm update, right?
Oh, yes.
One of those mighty Google slaps. And so, guys, this was in the days before Facebook, right? So Google was the monopoly, and they honestly didn't seem to care about the advertisers at all. And so basically our long copy sales letter that had worked for years and years, Google suddenly took a disliking to it and like banned our ad account, right? And I was like, Alex, what can we do? Like, and I was like messaging them and emailing them. They weren't getting back to me. And every time I would get a response, it's like, here's a list of about 80 different things that could be the reason that you've been banned. And I was like, oh my God. And so we very systematically built the whole thing again. Alex was super helpful. And we kind of changed everything to make it so Google would reactivate the account. And there was crickets. So basically then and there, my business had dried up overnight and I was stuck in a third world country with no more income.
Oh, mate. So, well, look, for those who are doing Google ads, and look, I must say that this is a common problem. A lot of the time people do rely on a single form of traffic on their website, or typically one source of marketing for their business. And while it's great, things can change overnight, especially with companies like Google. Now, what happened with Google is that they've actually changed their policies where websites that were selling ebooks were suddenly considered misleading to a degree. And they basically came up with a bunch of different reasons to change everything and actually ask business owners to follow through with their changes without actually providing clear guidelines. That was really a lot of fun. And we've been able to get some businesses back on track, but not the others, but not for long. I think within 6 months to 8 months, everything was just changing completely. But anyway, so you were stuck in where exactly for Laos, out of all places, with no income. Wow. Okay. So
where stuck between Vietnam and Thailand in the middle, in a landlocked country. So it was really important, right? And one of the first things that Alex said to me as soon as we couldn't push forward and get it changed, he's like, "Why don't you try Facebook?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, right." So that was 2010. That was like, I think the first year that Facebook was offering ads. And so I basically just jumped in straight away, guys, and kind of figured out how to make Facebook work. And I liked Facebook better because it's like a community and you're in there and you kind of learn how to attract people and interact with people and give them nuggets of gold and grow your page and grow your group. And to me, that was much more exciting, right? So to me, Facebook felt like a kind of like warm, furry hole or something like that, where there's so many options you can do for business building, whereas Google was kind of like very one dimensional. So I fell into that and loved it. And it took a wee bit of time to get it working, but I figured out it was so easy to build a community on Facebook and build trust, right? And so, and also obviously do the ads. And so, guys, Facebook is probably the best on the planet at making very smart ad products, and also by attracting people into their world so you can target these guys. And let me just give you guys an example. So one of my clients wants to attract construction business owners doing more than £500,000 per year. And so we run lead generation ads for him. We spend hundreds of pounds per day on these ads. And so each one of these ads wants to find a construction business owner earning more than £500,000 per year. And you can do that. Like, because Facebook is so good at targeting, and because you can train the algorithm, essentially because everyone's on there, if you are smart, you can find those exact people. And as long as the product resonates with them and you've got ways of screening them pre-qualifying, you can do that. And so I kind of fell in love with Facebook. And so at the same time we were in Laos and kind of like figuring out how to do Facebook, we also started like an eco-tourism business and a restaurant with a local person too. So obviously from all my ebook money, we had like a bit of a buffer in terms of investment money and stuff like that. So we thought, hey, let's do this local business as well, because sort of that whole Google thing kind of taught me and gave me confidence. Hey, you know what? Business is actually quite easy. As long as you really care about your clients, you care about good products, everything else should come into play. And so essentially that's what we did. And we ended up kind of staying there for about 6 years while I was getting used to Facebook and then doing the local business and then also growing my business on Facebook. And then a couple of years after that, so many business owners I would meet overseas would ask me how you do this ad, or what's your advice for this, or I've got these problems with Facebook in this way. And so I was like, okay, it's time to start launching an agency. And so 2015, launched my agency as well.
Awesome. And that's what you do right now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
So so we're small, boutique and dynamic. And essentially it's kind of like, for me, the magic of ads is the testing, right? The top 1% of Facebook advertisers got to that point by testing the most. And so we test more than anyone else. And for me, because I'm such a practitioner, for me, it's so fun to crack the code and find this one lead magnet that's going to work. And essentially, so what we do now that we've kind of got, like, we're running a whole lot of campaigns for some really big name coaches, essentially now we've got like a big hive mind, right? So we're spending millions of dollars a year in Facebook ads, seeing what's working, and those things that are working, we're rolling into all of our clients' accounts at the same time as innovating and coming up with new stuff as well. So that's what I love. I love building stuff. I love finally cracking the code, and I love producing amazing results. So I'm in my good zone. I can sit in front of this amazing view for like 5 hours and not even look outside and totally geek out trying to get my clients the best results. So for me, I love that.
And you're in New Zealand now. You're back in New Zealand. Okay. So whereabouts in New Zealand?
Yeah, so we're in the far north, guys. This is slightly north of the Bay of Islands. And the reason we moved back to New Zealand, Alex, is because Karen, my wife, was heavily pregnant with my daughter, Mia, when we were in Asia. And we had some really bad experiences with the hospitals there.
Okay.
So first time she was pregnant, unfortunately, she had a miscarriage. And we had some horrible experiences. And so we thought, no, it's time to kind of like move home just till we kind of find our feet with the kids. And then we kind of haven't left because we just love it so much. But now it's time to move. Now my daughter's old enough, so we want to go back overseas.
Yeah, well, the view that you share with me every single time we chat, I think you do it on purpose. It's great. So Andrej, for those of you listening, is overlooking the bay, and it's a beautiful mountain view as well. So, mate, I think that's been probably one of the longest intros I've done in my podcast, but I think I like that. So to summarize, Andrej actually does Meta ads, and he does them really, really well. In fact, Andre and I sort of collaborate a few times where, he would call me and say, hey, Alexi, I've got this interesting client. Can we do together? Can you sort of help with your Google related stuff? And yeah, we've collaborated quite a number of times. But what I do like specifically about your story, that it's real, that you've gone through it. And look, you've obviously given us the good bits. I'm sure there would have been many different challenges, but my podcast is called Better Business because every single business owner wants a business that's better and a business that works. And I think a lot of the time it's just about trial and error. And you could probably minimize the trial or the error by listening to other business owners and their journeys and understand exactly what needs to be done. Now, it sounds like you've obviously experimented with quite a number of things, ebook websites, being a scientist, running a cafe, doing social media. I mean, they all very different things, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure it was all really about following somebody, getting advice. I mean, what would be your tips for business owners who are potentially looking to do something better in their business, not necessarily in relation to marketing?
Absolutely. So I think the biggest thing is understand your customer. Get into your customer's head. Know what they like, know what they're looking for, know what they hate, know what their pain points are, and then take care of them. I think the biggest thing you can possibly do as a business owner is take really, really good care of your clients and your customers, because then they're going to come back and turn into the best ambassadors for your brand possible. So I think that's it. I think really looking after your people as well as you can, giving as much love and passion into them as possible, and then you can't help but succeed.
Absolutely. The way I like to put it, and this may sound a bit controversial, so for those who are listening, don't judge too hard. You could potentially go and spend $30,000 at a university degree and get something, or you could go and spend $30,000 on trying to do something and succeed. And believe me, those people who have done that, even though it's $30,000 loss in either way, one gets you an outcome definitely, the other one doesn't. And it's just a matter of time until you prove that. A person who has been doing a business for, let's say, over 2 years, who has lost $30,000 due to trying, in my opinion, is a much better option as opposed to a graduate who walked out by paying $30,000. No offense to those graduates. Look, it's a part of a bigger journey, and I guess everyone's different, but what are you working on right now? Are you working on sort of like a done for you or courses or a combination of things? Tell us about the sort of customers that you work with.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. No, I totally like that. I totally agree with what you said. I did the degree thing, got my science degree, had to travel halfway around the world to get a job. But now I realize if I had just invested that money into something else like business, it would have been heaps smarter. But you live and you learn, right? So yeah, good question, Alex. So at the moment, we've got like a done for you ads package. And so that's someone comes to us and they're like, we want everything. We want you to help us with like strategy. We want you to consult with like copy on the landing pages. We want you to write all the ads, do the copywriting for the ads, come up with the graphics and stuff like that. So we do that, right? So pretty much most of the clients we work with, they kind of have to be doing sort of like a minimum of about 15K a month just to make it work really, really well with ads. So there's that, and that's the done for you thing. And so that's for like big businesses who want someone reliable, who's also going to, and so we kind of want to be not only the ads people, but we want to be the marketing managers too and help kind of direct on strategy, because then we get the best results for them. So that's one thing. So the other thing that I've been doing kind of like bit secret squirrel for the last couple of years is I've got like a small little group, and it's called like Facebook Ads Mastery for Coaches. And essentially it's a couple of ex-clients or people who've been taking ads in-house who still need a bit of support. And so they turn up to like a 2-hour call per week, and literally we just do all the ads together, right? So it's all about the ads. Everyone's kind of like sitting and learning and taking notes. Because it's all on Zoom, I can bring up everyone's ad account and come up with new ads and stuff, and then give everyone the template for those ads. And essentially that's really fun. So that's my new little gig that I'm just kind of starting, and I haven't told anyone about it. So essentially this podcast is like, I suppose, like a soft launch of that.
Awesome. Well, don't forget to send me the link, because I'd like to share that with our listeners, and I'll put that in the description, because I think they may potentially pick up quite a number of things. And look, in my opinion, I think it's good to learn from the experience as opposed to people who practice theory. And I think the same thing happens with coaches. You do meet a lot of coaches that are very conceptual, and they probably lack the experience in order to promise any results. Versus some other coaches who are not afraid to get their hand dirty and potentially try to generate something and then teach people based on their experience. So, okay.
100%. And also, guys, if you're interested in a coach for any specific area, then take Alex's advice there, right? And find out, is it more theory? Have you done this, right? And kind of find that level of help you need.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So with New Zealand right now, so you're basically just focusing on the meta and living the dream by being in the place that you want, or are you doing anything else on the side? Because oftentimes I find entrepreneurs they just can't help themselves from starting another venture. What are you working on at the moment, mate?
Yeah, good question. So we kind of got a bit obsessed with doing stuff to our house. So we've got a massive long, I think probably 400 meters long gravel driveway. We just spent like $250,000 getting it concreted. Now we've got all our decks extended and we've got like tiered gardens, Alex. So we've got like we can just walk off the balcony and go get corn and strawberries, chilies and stuff like that. So kind of essentially domestic bliss. And so my daughter's really loving school here. And so we're kind of like, now we've kind of got the house beautifully set up and all nice. And so we're basically ready to go off overseas again. And so we're starting to get the travel bug again. My daughter's still young, but not old enough. So she has to be at a specific school. And so we're like, yeah, let's kind of like go overseas for a little bit and then potentially come back again. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's the plan.
Awesome, awesome, mate. Whenever I get guests on the podcast, I typically try to do this thing, which we call rapid fire, which is where I ask you, a specific question. I just want a simple answer. Are you ready, mate?
Yeah.
Because obviously you've traveled so much. What's your favorite place for a holiday?
Favorite place for a holiday would be Thailand.
Thailand. Okay. Anywhere specific?
Yes. Koh Lanta Island.
Okay. Haven't been, but must check it out. I've been to Phuket a few times.
Yeah. Slightly off the main touristy path, but still stunning, amazing food. And that's kind of why I chose it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your favorite personal development book?
Anything by Tony Robbins. Actually, Eckhart Tolle. The Power of Now.
Okay.
Because your
different.
ego, guys, is basically causing all the screw ups. And so if you can get past your ego, you're going to get much faster, better results for yourself.
Now, for those who are listening, proceed with caution. Eckhart Tolle and Power of Now isn't your regular personal development book. It's sort of borderline between spiritual, business, self, conscience. It's a tough subject, but overall, I think it's a great book. But proceed with care and caution. Yeah. Now, your favorite personal development coach or persona, who do you follow?
I think the best guy I know is also a client of mine, Taki Moore.
Oh, okay. I know Taki.
Australia's $1 million coach. Yeah, he is super smart dude. Really great to work with as well.
Well, you know what? I've had a couple of interactions with Taki early days, and I remember jumping on the call to him because Andrew Adele have asked me to have a chat to him. And at the time, he was doing a printed physical magazine. And he said, mate, so what do you think we could do to get more subscribers? And I said, mate, you should go digital. And he's like, oh, that's interesting, but I'm not sure if we're going to do it. I think it's like 2005 or 6 or something like that. So, Taki, if you're listening, mate.
I'll remind him of that.
Let me know what worked for you, mate. Andrej, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. I love doing podcasts like this one because we can make things really interesting and inspiring. And I think at the end of the day, it's really just about showing business owners what's possible. So for those of you who are thinking of changing something, I think it's never too late. Obviously, it's harder to make changes as you get older in life and have family and so on. But if you're young, if you're starting out, set yourself some real goals, trying to find yourself some motivation. Potentially people like Andrej can maybe give you a couple of ideas, and sounds like you've got lots to share, mate. So my advice is make sure you get the inspiration and motivation to do something that you'll remember for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
Andrej, any last tips or remarks or anything you'd like to add to this podcast?
Absolutely. So I think, guys, the other thing you've got to be aware of in business is don't be afraid to fail, right? And so most of what we do with ads is like testing out a lead magnet, it fails, testing out this offer, it fails, and then kind of like paying attention to what we learned and then coming with the next step. And so as a business owner, you're always going to have setbacks, you're always going to have disappointments, you're always going to have things that you lose, but you just get up and learn from that and keep going, right? And keep pushing because you will get there. So every single mistake you've ever made, reframe that and go, what can I learn from that? And then move forward with that in mind and make the next best right step.
Absolutely, absolutely. And look, if you're looking for more guidance in relation to meta advertising, Andrej is your man. I will make sure to add some contact details in the signature of this podcast as well. Andrej, thanks very much for jumping on this podcast at such a short notice, but you've been on my radar for a while. I know you're a little bit hard to catch, mate, but now that I got you, thanks for the time. Now,
Awesome.
for those of you enjoying Better Business Podcast, please don't forget to subscribe and share this with your friends, family, work colleagues, or anyone who may benefit. My name is Alexi. I try to get the best guests for you in order to keep you on track, to inspire, motivate you, and educate you on what you could do better in your business. Thanks very much, and I'll chat to you soon.